Hey guys, what's up? Like, here to talk about Bobby Kotick, which seems pretty prevalent at the moment because he is stepping down as CEO of Activision. But before we get into it, if you are new to the channel, please be sure to like and subscribe, and if you are a returning viewer who still hasn't subscribed, you are totally missing out on the easiest way possible to keep up with the latest and greatest content. Do it. Now, for those of you who have been living under a rock, Bobby Kotick is the CEO of Activision, and he is under major scrutiny because of Activision's sexual assault scandal that has bubbled to the surface and has apparently been going on without accountability for a little over a decade. And it recently came out that Bobby Kotick knew the whole time and was just looking the other way. It also came out that he threatened a female assistant, leaving behind a voicemail stating that he was going to have her killed. But for him to step down as a CEO, he basically has to fire himself. But of course, he's making so much money, he didn't want to do that. But recently, Activision was acquired by Microsoft for around $70 billion, which is a huge dub. But not before he received a lot of pressure from a lot of their partners, like Coca-Cola, for instance, who was kind of pulling the relationship away from Activision in hopes to coerce Bobby Kotick into doing the right thing. Anyways, all of this basically got me thinking, how, if in any way, did Bobby Kotick affect Call of Duty? And was it a positive or negative effect? And are there any redeeming qualities to Bobby Kotick? Spoiler alert, fuck no. Not only did the negligence in enabling a sexual assault within the walls of Activision start a little over a decade ago, the year is 2009, and right off the bat, he's a dick. At a Deutsche Bank conference, he boasted about the pride and aiming to take the fun out of making video games. Yes, that's a real quote. Shortly after, he's already involved in a scheme to try and swindle a lucrative contract negotiation with Infinity Ward. He got Zampella and West, who were the two executives of Infinity Ward at the time, to sign a contract that had a clause explaining that ownership of the franchise would shift over to Activision in the event that West and Zampella were ever fired. Bobby Kotick then immediately devised a secret plan to dig up as much dirt as possible on Zampella and West in hopes to get his hands on anything that would justify firing them both, so he could then steal the rights to their work right from under them. People, of course, found out, and that's what led to the lawsuit, which was eventually settled out of court and eventually led to the infamous falling out with Infinity Ward devs, leaving not just Infinity Ward but also Activision to create Respawn Entertainment underneath EA as their new publisher. This strong-arm approach to running the company put fear in all developers underneath Activision. Bobby Kotick was known to sue developers who tried to leave Activision for other publishers offering better deals. This led to a reluctancy for creative deviation or pushback from developers regarding their projects and their creative visions for said projects, because deep down they knew it was Bobby's way or the highway. After tearing Infinity Ward down, he pretty much left it up to them to build themselves back up, which is when Sledgehammer got the call to come and assist them when developing Modern Warfare 3, and fans definitely felt the effects of this shakeup within Modern Warfare 3, at the very least in its campaign. Modern Warfare 3 was an excellent game, but for reference, Call of Duty 4, the first Modern Warfare, had this amazingly dynamic story of these ultra-nationalists rising up against Russia's establishment government, instigating a coup at the hands of these four warlords. While you're hunting them down one by one, you're also defusing a global nuclear situation. Then you have the storyline from Modern Warfare 2, which was priceless. It scratched on the surface of military-industrial complex, private military institutions, and the CIA's willingness to participate in acts of terrorism if they feel the ends justify the means. But because of the fallout between Infinity Ward and Activision, and the limited amount of resources and time left over for the devs to create Modern Warfare 3, their story ended up being just hunting down a single protagonist in the events of World War III, and some monuments around the world get destroyed. The original plan for the original team at Infinity Ward was for Modern Warfare to have at least 5 installments. They would later admit that Modern Warfare 3 ended up more simplistic and less dynamic than they originally intended, but they were just trying to end the series so that the new team could move on to a new project. The effects of this hiccup were noticeable. Now, by the time Black Ops 2 was released and Call of Duty Ghosts was getting into the bulk of its QA testing, Bobby Kotick was digging his hands into the Call of Duty cookie jar more and more. He wanted to further influence the production and direction of this money-making franchise. And at the end of Black Ops 2's life cycle, we see the arrival of the first cosmetic microtransactions. Originally, it seemed kind of benign. We felt the timing was appropriate. It was kind of like, hey, for those of you who aren't moving on to Call of Duty Ghosts, here's something for you to play around with while you're still here. But microtransactions quickly grew into this obnoxious pillar in the user interface of future installments of Call of Duty. In the very next game, Call of Duty Ghosts, we see the camos, but we also see voice packs, and the very next installment after that, the COD community was hit with a Bobby Kotick wombo combo. You see, by Black Ops 2, insiders were already getting word about Respawn Entertainment's first title. Bobby, who was still not happy about Infinity Ward heavyweights calling him out for being such a piece of shit, he aimed to compete directly against Respawn Entertainment by releasing 3 years of Call of Duty boost jump shooters in hopes that it would cripple the Respawn Entertainment studio. So the very next installment after Call of Duty Ghost is Advanced Warfare, and not only was it a boost jump shooter, but the microtransactions in the game run off of a pay-to-play system, via a gambling system no less. His willingness to simply use Call of Duty as a vehicle for his unquenchable greed was so bad that by Infinite Warfare, the United States Congress got involved and had to make real money video game gambling illegal. Bobby was such a greedy menace, the United States Congress had to get involved. Keep in mind, Sledgehammer originally wanted their first installment to be a Vietnam shooter, but because Bobby and his butthurt ego was so focused on trying to cripple Respawn Entertainment, no, your first title is going to be a boost jumps game. Besides, you guys made Dead Space. You're good at all that futuristic mumbo jumbo. There's always next time or the time after that, unless, we forced you to make a World War II game to compete with another company's World War I game. Or let's say your head honcho decides to leave the company and we have to hand your Vietnam shooter over to Treyarch so they can turn it into another Black Ops game. But that's totally unlikely. Don't worry about it. There's always next time. But again, Bobby Kotick's super controlling, invasive, strong-arm approach to not only take away more and more creative control from the developers over their own games, but also converting the direction of the franchise into nothing more than a vehicle for endless microtransactions, really hurt the community's reception of the franchise. And the way Activision combated this was by just pumping more money into marketing. Bigger and more continuous marketing will keep a lot more people involved with the game or franchise that they don't necessarily enjoy anymore. And people like Bobby knew this. Just for example, Black Ops 1 spent only around $17 million on its marketing, and it sold 31 million copies, and by the end of 2011 had made $2.5 billion. Whereas for Modern Warfare 2019, Activision pumped in around $230 million into the most ambitious and continuous marketing campaign in Call of Duty history for it to sell 30 million copies and make just under $3 billion, including microtransaction sales in Warzone. The overall success of these two games come from two completely different places. What Bobby Kotick did for Call of Duty was take the fun out of developing a game, take away as much creative control and pushback from the developers and their own creative ideas and projects, and put fear in your developers to keep things that way. Keep the franchise your way or the highway, and if that starts to hurt the franchise, just throw endless money into its marketing to gaslight the public into believing that it's better than it actually is. But now the question comes, do the ends justify the means? Financially for Activision, of course. I mean, when he stepped in as Activision CEO, Activision was struggling financially. And now it's very successful financially. But there's a difference between cooking the books and balancing the budget and outright abusing the wages of your workers so that you can in turn give yourself multi-million-dollar raises and bonuses every year. He made it financially successful in major part by screwing over their workers, breaking up and getting rid of a lot of medium-wage positions, sprinkling the responsibilities of those positions down onto countless low-wage positions, and then keeping the plethora of low-wage position wages as stagnant as possible. Underpaid employees reportedly share tips on how to skip meals and use the company's free coffee to fight off urges of hunger. While Bobby, on the other hand, is paying himself $300 million for simply stepping down. Bobby Kotick mutilated the Call of Duty franchise. He disrupted one of the greatest FPS dev teams of all time. He went so far with turning Call of Duty into nothing more than a real-life slot machine for children that Congress had to get involved to stop him. And he quickly realized that by letting your greed ruin the enjoyment of a game, you can simply pump more money into its marketing to gaslight the players into buying enough copies for you to still make a profit. That's Bobby Kotick's legacy as far as Call of Duty is concerned. I'm glad he's gone. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Comment down below. Keep the conversation going, and I will catch you guys next time.